The latest data from China's auto market from October 2025 tells a story that goes far beyond a simple monthly sales report. What we are observing is the confirmation and indeed the acceleration of three fundamental structural shifts. These three signals provide the framework for our entire analysis. First, what we're calling the Great Divergence, which shows domestic and joint venture brands are now on irreversible paths. Second, the value transfer. This is about following the profit as it migrates from the automakers to their core technology suppliers. And third, the export bridge, positioning hybrids as a critical global growth engine. Together, they paint a very clear picture of a market in rapid transformation. All right, let's begin with our first signal, the Great Divergence. The October data points to a structural and accelerating performance gap between domestic Chinese brands and their foreign joint venture counterparts. And the numbers here are definitive. Domestic brands expanded their retail share to nearly 69% in October. At the same time, mainstream joint ventures saw their sales contract by 10% year over year. And what's important is that this isn't just a dip, it's an acceleration of their decline, which underscores a significant strategic challenge. This single figure, 7.1%, really isolates the core vulnerability for the joint ventures. In a market where new energy vehicles now make up over 57% of all sales, the NEV penetration for these foreign brands is lagging dramatically. This is not just a product gap, it's a fundamental disconnect from the market's primary growth engine. This dynamic in market share logically leads to our second signal, a fundamental shift in profitability. We're seeing value migrate upstream, away from the automakers themselves and towards the technology providers. And this raises a critical question for understanding the market's financial architecture. With such intense price competition compressing automaker margins to an average of just 4.5%, the key is to identify where economic value is now being captured in this new ecosystem. The data suggests a clear bifurcation. On one hand, you have the automakers, facing margin erosion from relentless price reductions. On the other, a new class of core technology suppliers, what some are calling Tier 0.5, are demonstrating significant pricing power. These are the companies providing the critical batteries and intelligent systems at the heart of today's vehicles. For a clear example, consider the market leader, BYD. Despite its dominant position in sales, its net profit for the third quarter of 2025 actually saw a year-over-year decline of 33%. This just reflects the immense pressure on even the most successful automakers. But now, look at the other side of that coin. In stark contrast, KTL, the world's largest EV battery supplier, reported a 41.2% surge in its third quarter net profit. This contrast couldn't be a clearer illustration of the value transfer in action. Profit is migrating upstream to the key enablers of the electric transition. Now, these domestic pressures on market share and profitability logically drive our third signal, the strategic importance of exports. This has become a crucial outlet for domestic competition and an essential new growth engine. The domestic market in China can really be characterized as a red ocean of hyper-competition, and this environment is compelling Chinese automakers to accelerate their global expansion, to seek out blue ocean opportunities where their competitive advantages can be more readily monetized. The export growth figures here are simply significant. While total NEV exports more than doubled, the breakout performance is in hybrid technologies. Plug-in hybrids, or PHEVs, grew over 270%, and extended-range electric vehicles, or EREVs, saw a year-over-year increase of over 1,000%. And this success is not accidental, it's highly strategic. Hybrid models directly address key barriers to EV adoption in developing markets, like range anxiety and inadequate charging infrastructure. They also help meet tightening emission standards, all while leveraging a technology and cost structure that many legacy automakers are struggling to match. So these macro signals are manifesting in a significant reshuffling of the competitive landscape. A deeper look at the data reveals new challenges for established leaders and the emergence of a new competitive order. The challenges facing market leader BYD appear to be less about the overall market and more structural in nature. The issue is centered on its previously dominant plug-in hybrid technology, which is now facing a wave of very credible competitors. This chart perfectly illustrates the internal divergence within BYD's own portfolio. While its pure electric vehicle sales remain robust, With over 17% growth, its core PHEV segment experienced a sharp 31% year-over-year decline. This indicates its technological moat in this area is being challenged. Meanwhile, the hierarchy among the startup brands known as the new forces has been completely reordered. Li Auto, a former leader, saw its sales fall 38% year-over-year, ceding its top position. Leapmotor and the Huawei-backed AITO have now ascended to the top, signaling a dramatic shift in competitive strength. Finally, let's turn to the short-term outlook. The trajectory for the remainder of 2025 and the beginning of 2026 will be heavily influenced by some significant and imminent policy shifts. The critical factor to watch is the change to the NEV purchase tax. The current full exemption is set to expire, which is expected to create a pull-forward effect, boosting sales in the final quarter of 2025. Then, from January 1st, a new reduced tax break will apply, but it comes with stricter technical requirements. Crucially, this policy shift should be viewed not just as a subsidy reduction, but as a mechanism to raise the industry's technological baseline. To qualify for the new tax break, hybrids will need a minimum pure electric range of 100 kilometers. It's estimated this new rule will disqualify approximately 40% of the hybrid models currently on the market. And this leads to our final analytical outlook. While the end of 2025 will likely see a policy-driven sales surge, the true test will come in early 2026. Once this advanced demand is exhausted, the market's performance will reveal the true organic strength of its key players and confirm the durability of these structural trends.